welcome back to Knights of Chiefs Kingdom. I'm your host, Caleb Worsham, and today we have again our special guest, Emily Broadway. And let's just say, how about those Chiefs? That was an amazing game, and I thought, ironically, in the first half, we were below 10 points just so what we were in Super Bowl 54, except it wasn't the first quarter. It was the fourth quarter. We made that amazing comeback, but it kind of just foreshadowed, and I was like, we're going to make a comeback when I saw we were 0-10.
Yeah. I don't think I actually had much. I feel like in the Super Bowl I had a little doubt of, is this where our, complete magic runs out, with that whole playoff run? But today, Sunday, I felt like we were kind of just in control and hey, you know what? They have 10 points. We have Mahomes versus Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm. And then our defense, of course, was really aggressive towards the end. And I think Jimmy had 3 sacks during that game. And Frank Clark actually made a sack during that game.
How many interceptions did he have?
I'm not sure. I think there was at least 2 because in the first half, So the first half, it was 14-13 the Niners. So we had possession of the ball, and then we threw it. Mahomes threw an interception. Our defense came out, and it was 1st and goal in the red zone. Jimmy throws the ball, 1st and goal. Good. I don't know who was it. It was a rookie who.
Yeah, it was his first. Was it all the way back into the touchdown, very close. Yeah, no, it was his first ever career pick. And I'm just I love it.
I know, because this is our second rookie of the year that was a pick 6 interception run, except it wasn't like Deshaun Watson on week 2. That was still awesome. I wish that would have happened at the 49ers game. But, it was still pretty cool to see that pick 6 occur. And then we came back tied. Well, it wasn't tied, but it was a pretty close game at half, 14-13. And then we fired up at the second half. And let me tell you, the Jet was awesome that day. He had 2 receiving, and then... He had
2 rushing and 1 receiving. He's the first player in Super Bowl era in the NFL to ever do it.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. And then including JUJU Smith with that, he made 1 touchdown.
Don't forget MVS too. Those 2 had over 100 yards yards this game. And that's the first time since I think 2000 that any teams really had 2 receivers, or at least the Chiefs have had 2 receivers with over 100.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyreek Hill, who?
Yeah, we didn't really lose anything really, but I feel good for the Dolphins at least because they're doing better with Tyreek Hill. But the Chiefs, we haven't lost anything. We're still
so good.
Yeah, we're 5. We've only lost 2 games so far coming to our bye week, and I think it's going to be good that a lot of them are going to be recovering from minor injuries if it's been bothering them.
And we should be getting some more people back actually this time.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, some controversial NFL news hit days after the win when Frank Clark was suspended for 2 games against the Titans and the Jackson Jaguars.
At least we'll have him for the Chargers, and it's not 4 games. I am shocked, though, that his gun charge was only 2 games and hitting a vacuum was 4.
I know.
And I'm not here to say that neither player deserved their suspension. There was some punishment that needed to happen, no offense. I just think the timing was so unjust, though, because it's they literally started the Willie Gay into 2 weeks into the season when you knew when he got arrested in January or something of this past season, and then Frank Clark got arrested in the offseason that previous offseason, not this preseason, but the previous one.
Right.
So it's we got Willie Gay back, and then we lose Frank Clark. I'm just like, what are you doing, NFL? Be consistent.
There was another controversial issue. The NFL commissioners are actually questioning 2 NFL referees after asking an autograph from, I think it was a wide receiver from the Buccaneers.
Oh, Mike Evans?
Mike Evans.
Okay, I've heard a different take. The NFL did finish their reporting on this.
Okay.
And what it seems like was one of the side judges went to Texas A&M as well as Mike Evans. And apparently, this seems so strange. It wasn't an autograph. He was asking, I think Mike Evans was passing some golfer's phone number. I don't know how this makes sense. It's really weird. I'm also kind of like, the Bucks lost. It'd be different if the Bucks won and there were some controversial ref calls. But the Bucks lost to the Carolina Panthers. I don't think I could write that. So I don't necessarily think there's complete. Even if it was an autograph, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
They weren't being, right to the Buccaneer, if that makes sense. So.
And Brady was frustrated during that game, and I don't blame him.
Can we talk about Brady, Rodgers, and Russell Wilson having the worst 7-game streaks of their entire careers?
It's like the older quarterbacks are being hit hard during this season,
which is funny because there's been more roughing the passer penalties.
Yes. So interesting. And that last play during the Packers game, I thought, oh my gosh, is he actually going to do it? And it reminded me of the Giants and the Bears game where they threw laterals when it was 0 seconds, and they were just bouncing the ball back and forth, and then Aaron Rodgers just drops down.
Although I will be honest, Patrick Mahomes, thank you for having better leadership than Aaron Rodgers. Because Patrick Mahomes, even if it is his receivers making complete mistakes, yeah, he might be okay, you gotta do this. But in press conferences, he'll be that's my fault, even if it's not his fault. But Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, will be will go on talk shows and all this and be yeah, these young guys are making too many mistakes. They don't deserve to play. You gotta play some of the other guys off the bench. And I'm just imagine hearing, yes, you gotta call out the issues, but that should be done in your locker room, not in public. And you shouldn't, and also, you should learn to take the fault yourself, because you are not helping.
Because you should be a team, not something decisive, saying that I'm the quarterback taking all the pride, saying that, okay, peasants, catch my ball. He's acting like that, basically. Patrick Mahomes, he's on the same level with his old team. He's a good leader, and he works with his teammates, and they get stuff done.
Oh, yeah. And, even Tom Brady doesn't go on full blast on air, Yeah. Also, Russell Wilson, buddy. First off, why in the world are you?
It's okay.
Why in the world are you having your own teammates contact you through your agent, not yourself? And also, why in the world are you doing high knees on an 8-hour flight for 4 hours to London while your team's trying to sleep?
I don't know. I feel like he's just pissing off the Broncos. I think
it's fun to see when you're not a Broncos fan. If you are, I am so sorry.
And I still think that's the biggest steal in NFL. Taking a $294 contract about the Broncos, and all those draft picks went to Seattle, and everyone thought the Seahawks were going to be bad. Seahawks. For crying out loud, the Seahawks beat the Chargers.
I know. Aren't they leading the NFC West?
Yes,
last I saw, they are.
They are number one.
I don't think anyone could have written that, and I love it.
And I think it's ironic, too, how Russell Wilson was a Seahawk, and they went to Super Bowl defeating Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos, and now he's a different Bronco. switch.
He still can't complete a 1 yard run to the end zone, though.
Right. Right. Yeah, because they tried to they threw that. Yeah, they threw it during the Patriots Super Bowl, and it was picked. I'll never forget that.
Did you hear about so you showed me something about the Tennessee Titans' new
stadium?
Yeah,
so it's a new stadium proposal, and it kind of reminds me, it's not like SoFi, but it's more like they're even going to add a Top Golf to the side of the building. That's what they're going to add to it.
No, but recently, I think it was just today that this team released it, but the Bills announced they're getting looks at a new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it's going to look like there's a roof, from snowy games and everything.
I would say they better get the design, the technology structure from like the Minnesota Vikings with their infrastructure, because in the past the Minnesota Vikings stadium has collapsed inside because of snow, and Buffalo, they get a lot of snow during the winter, and I would hate for them to have their roof collapsing on them. Oh, fun fact about the Minnesota Vikings, I think it was that same stadium that collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it wasn't the same stadium. It happened in the 80s or 70s. An airplane crashed into the roof of the stadium.
I remember hearing that.
And that was like, I think the second stadium that they had, and then they built that third one.
Oh yeah, and they'll keep building it.
And then the roof collapsed due to the snow, and then they finally rebuilt a new one.
Yeah.
So
I'm just glad that no one was in the building when this roof collapsed, because that would be scary.
It would be. Yeah, people, we can be all divided with different teams, but we're all human beings, and that's, we gotta have humanity in football, because, it does suck if your team loses, but we're all on the same team.
Right.
We learn from our mistakes, and, just enjoy football.
You want to know an interesting fact for this week's games? Since the Chiefs will be resting, and it's a well-deserved rest because we've done so well this season so far.
5-2.
We've only had 2 losses. One, I would say, was an okay loss to have. The other one,
Colts. We should be 6-1.
Like I said, the last time we lost to the Colts, we won the Super Bowl.
That's true.
Last time we lost to the Bills, we still beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. I'm okay with where we are, and we're still trying to figure ourselves out.
Mm-hmm.
But the only game that's between 2 winning opponents, believe it or not, Seahawks versus Giants. I don't think if you told me last year that those two, especially after the Russell Wilson trade, if you told me those 2 teams are the only ones that would be like a winning game, winning versus winning game, I don't think I'd believe you. I think I'd be laughing in your face a little. Did not see that coming.
Honestly, the Seahawks could, honestly, in my opinion, I think the Seahawks can do it, but they're pretty close with the Giants with their winning streak.
That's going to be a fun game, being honest, because it's 2 teams that are kind of rebuilding their culture, if that makes, figuring out, whether it's rebuilding players, rebuilding culture. It's just, it's rebuilding for both of them.
Right.
And they've done pretty well for both teams, so.
Yep. So I'm definitely going to take the Seahawks over them, just because I'm a Cowboys fan, and I'm looking forward to the Thanksgiving game. I think that one's going to be good with the Cowboys and Giants. But I know it's going to be a bloodbath when it comes to the Bills and the Lions. Unless a miracle happens and the Lions win.
Low-key, I am praying for the Lions. I'm praying that their defense finally comes alive and that their offense is about as sharp as possible.
Yeah.
The nice thing is, though, the Lions owner did say that I actually have respect for Dan Campbell. He's that good for Lions.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very interesting character, but I like him, and he kind of brings his team along together. And Inter said, yeah, this will take time, don't worry. Which I kind of like, because a lot of NFL, yes, it is about winning. And, like, if you're not winning, if you get, like, 1 or 2 seasons and you're not winning, there's the door, you know?
The boot.
You know, there's a reason why Andy Reid got fired from Philadelphia, because he didn't win the Super Bowl, you know, and that was his kryptonite, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just... I hope he continues to progress. I do want the Lions to come alive and just shut Josh Allen down. Will that happen? Probably not, but I'd like to see it.
We'll see.
As far as Seahawks versus Giants, I'm going to pick the Giants.
Interesting.
The only reason why I hated the Giants was the previous coach, because he's like, when like the Washington ended up winning their division, going playoffs as like a under 500 team.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and like it came down to the Philadelphia game, and Philadelphia decided to start like their 3rd string quarterback or something for that game, or like play him, and the Giants coach got mad and said, that's very disrespectful to the game, because had the Eagles won, it would have been the Giants. And I'm just like, y'all had losing records. You have 17 games to win 1 more game.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it took. You did not do what you had to do. That is on you. That is not on the Eagles, quote unquote, disrespecting football.
Mm-hmm.
None. I was actually, and the fact that the, now Commanders, was the WF team.
Beating the Packers, that was crazy.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yeah, Panthers beating Buccaneers. Beautiful weekend. Chiefs doing what they normally do. Glad the Chiefs did not get upset.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, Patrick Mahomes actually led this week with 423 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I did not realize he got that many yards. Wow.
Yep, he was the largest yards for this week for the quarterbacks.
Well, it's also the Bills fans are all going to be complaining that
it's bye week.
It was their bye week.
Yeah, I've already seen a lot of comments on that.
And more than likely, they'll be getting a second bye.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see what will happen. So, hopefully, I'm hoping the Packers can win, even though they've lost 3 straight games. Even though I'm a Chiefs fan, as much as I hate the Bills and the Packers, I'm going to go for the Packers.
Who are the Packers playing?
The Bills this week.
Oh, I think you said the Lions were.
No, the Bills are playing this week this weekend against the Packers. The Lions are playing the Bills during Thanksgiving.
Oh, no, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's during Thanksgiving.
I guess this will be the only time I'll cheer for the Packers. Only time.
Mm-hmm.
You're hearing that here, people.
I just hope they can protect Aaron Rodgers, because that defense on the Bills is going to come straight right at him.
Their defense, I think, personally, was actually the best. Because we faced 3 top number 1 defenses. Mm-hmm. That was the only one that really kind of curbed us, but it was also our mistakes.
Right, we made mistakes. But
I think the Bucs defense was the most aggressive, but we used it against them. And the 49ers were also aggressive, and we used it against them.
In the second half.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just happy that it was 44-23, and we just came explosive.
So good to see Mecole Hardman get a great game.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good to see our 2 wide receivers. Yes, MVS did not get a touchdown, but they were both over 100, which means they both did well. Travis Kelce had 98 on National Tight End Day. I wish he got a touchdown. And can we...
it was George Kittle and Kelce. They made the same exact stat on that day. I saw that on National Tight End Day.
I love it. That's considered currently 2 of the better tight ends. I'd also put in Baltimore's... Forgot what his name was, but he's been doing really well this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one other guy that scored a touchdown. It was the guy that scored the touchdown against the Chargers that helped turn around that, the next play we got a pick, or like the next drive we got a pick, pick six.
Mm-hmm.
From the two J. Watsons.
Yep, that was from week 2. So...
Justin Watson, yep. His second
Justin
touchdown
Watson.
this season. Love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's my favorite thing when the, underrated players, the less unknown players, get a touchdown, get on the scoreboard, or, do something well.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's, my favorite thing in the world.
And I like how Patrick Mahomes doesn't have, a particular target to throw the ball. He has multiple weapons, like Mecole Hardman, JUJU Smith, who's number 11? MVS. Yeah, he did really good. And then
I feel like Travis Kelce will always be his main one, but that's the one he has, I think, the best connection with.
Right.
And he knows that Travis Kelce will fight through anything to catch. But he also knows if his receivers are, especially on like they were last game, he has no problem giving it to anyone.
Mm-hmm. And then Clyde Edwards is really good with Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco is a fighter. He can just
Pacheco actually got his first career start Sunday, so that was nice.
And he may get his debut against the Giants game, so I'm excited for that.
His debut?
Not debut. What's it called?
Touchdown?
No. Introduction at Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Because they kind of did that with JUJU Smith. I think it was against the Bills game.
Oh, yeah.
Because they yelled, JUJU Smith! And he came out of the tunnel and everyone was all hyped out.
I like those player intros,
Mm-hmm.
They get you hyped.
Oh, yeah.
And you can definitely see our players getting hyped,
Mm-hmm.
Although, let's be honest, the screams are the loudest for no other than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. So, I'm going to talk about our rankings. So, nothing really much has changed besides, explosive, score from our last week's loss against the Bills. So, we're in rank number 3 of the NFL whole. We're number 2 in the AFC, right behind the Bills.
Which makes sense, and yeah. I'm assuming the Eagles are above us too.
Mm-hmm.
They actually seeming like an actual. I've known they've been a solid team. I think they're actually looking a little bit more solid as we're at this point at the season.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think though? My random question for you is: do you think the Eagles will go 17-0 in regular season?
I would say I looked at their schedule. It's going to be really easy for them because they did steamrolled over the Cowboys. I do like my Cowboys, but I think.
Well, when they last played though, it was Cooper Rush.
Mm-hmm.
And Dak Prescott actually had a decent game back. So that's the matchup I think I'm circling.
We'll see.
Have the Eagles played the Giants?
I don't think so. I can look it up.
Because I know they'll at least have one more meeting with them.
I'm looking real quick. Because I thought they did play against some.
I think so, but they still have one more meeting because you do home and away for division.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I think those two games will be the most.
Ooh, they play the Steelers this weekend. I feel like Eagles are just going to spank them. I'm pulling it up.
If Pickett can stop getting picked.
It's going to be December 11th is their next game. It's actually going to be their first game against the Giants.
Oh, so they haven't played.
Yep. So Eagles and Giants on December 11th, and then after that it's the Bears, and then Cowboys will have a shot at getting them on Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
Christmas Eve, Cowboys versus Eagles.
'Tis the season.
Yeah.
To lose the ink. La 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 la. Sorry, Charles.
It's okay. But about the Chiefs, let's get back about the Chiefs. So a lot of injuries. I think it was what's his name, McDuffie. Or?
He should be coming back after the
and
fight.
a lot of injuries. Since it's bye week, everyone's going to be all healed up before the Tennessee game. We just won't have Frank Clark out there, but I think we're going to, do good against Tennessee, though. Hey, I think we'll do fine.
We will.
Because Tennessee, they're doing okay so far.
They are on a hot streak right now, so I think they're trying to find. They've started to find their rhythm after a shaky start, so I think that game is going to be a very interesting one.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully we can beat them. So that's all I have for today. Thank you, Emily, for joining.
Thank you for having me.
And tune in until next week. I'll talk to y'all later.
Enjoy your bye week.
Yep. How about those Chiefs?